Now, Craig has asked me to tell you my personal history. October 1954, I became the first Negro, colored person in America that Thurgood Marshall used to compel the South to apply for Brown versus Board of Education. You see, I was a plaintiff in Brown versus Board of Education. I applied to the University of Virginia Law School as a junior at Howard, as #1 in my class. But they told me they didn't want me to get Howard because I was #1 from Spotsylvania, Virginia. They wanted me to become the lead plaintiff in the Prince Edward Farmer School cases. Would I do it? And with the support of my parents, who recited the 23rd Psalm, the 80 you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you fear no evil. The Lord shall be with you. And my father said, we knew God gave you intellectual ability and talent to be a smart kid. That was those were his words, smart kid. Just well be you as any other Negro, colored kid. So I became the very first Negro in America that Thurgood Marshall used to compel compliance with Brown. I'm alive today because of Governor Forbes, perhaps because when Forbes threatened to close all the colored schools in Arkansas, Thurgood decided that the NAACP did not have enough money to go forward both in Virginia and Arkansas at the same time. And you people know about the public expose of what happened in Arkansas with Central High and Little Rock 9. You didn't hear about Virginia. I'm the Virginia. My case was settled. Virginia paid to send me to law school in New York. Thurgood told me to go to New York and prove that I could be as bright as any Jewish kid they could find in New York. And I did so. I went to New York University and graduated in the top 10% of my law school class. But little did I realize that would put me in the hottest spot in the government. Because when the Kennedy administration came in, I was designated as the eyes and ears of Bobby Kennedy, special assistant to Martin Luther King movement. I was the go-between between J. Edgar Hoover and Bobby Kennedy to make sure the Communist Party did not infiltrate the Martin Luther King movement, to make sure that there were no white FBI agents that would sabotage the civil rights movement, and to make sure that the black leaders did not commit criminal offenses. I was Bobby Kennedy's eyes and ears from 1961 to 65. And I operated like a James Bond. I could not even tell my wife what I worked on. I've only been liberated to even share this with the public, with the current administration. I can't go into details even then. But I was Bobby Kennedy's eyes and ears. As a matter of fact, people thought at that time, back in the 60s, that I was part of his personal household staff and I was his butler. When instead of being his butler, I was his eyes and ears on the Martin Luther King movement. And when Martin was assassinated, I was appointed as the first general counsel over the Metropolitan Police Department to keep a lid on Washington, to make sure we would not have police brutality and race riots in Washington after the explosion on the day of Martin's death. I had planned to be counsel for police for 3 to 5 years, but destiny interceded again. And in June of '69, I was appointed the first U.S. magistrate judge in the history of the nation, and then participated in the Watergate cases with John Sirica that led to the impeachment of Nixon. Fast forward, there's a lot of interesting history in between. I could keep you here the rest of the day. But more amazing than that, I married, had 5 children. I ended up with a son who was more intellectual and more brilliant than I am. And he now is internationally famous. He is the inventor of Viagra. I'm the father of the inventor of Viagra. But that's not his only accomplishment. He is considered today the #1 prostate cancer surgeon in the United States. And he's here right here in Maryland, right under your nose. Here at Johns Hopkins University Hospital. He's the holder of the Patrick Walsh Endowed Chair. And he holds a second patent that deals with eliminating or preventing the need for colostomy bags. Dealing with preserving the nerves when you take sections of people's intestines. There are over 2 million resorts on and his pictures all over the internet, but we're so fragmented that people don't, and the press don't tell you about him. But he's famous as Ben Carson. His name is Arthur Burnett II. He's called Dr. Buddy Burnett. And if you take 20 seconds, put his name on your Google India system, his picture would come up and you would think we're twins. Yet you people didn't even know who I was. It shows you how African Americans need to know their own history. And finally, I want to conclude with the observation that I came from a pretty humble background. My father only had a 6th grade education. My mother only had an 8th grade education. But they inspired their 3 children to get educations. 3 of us ended up with 6 degrees. And my sister ended up being the administrator at the Bloomberg School of Public Health. She retired a couple years ago. She was Lenore Davis, president of the HIV/AIDS program, nonprofit operation in Baltimore City. And she ran the Bloomberg School of Public Health Administration Master's Public Health program for 20 or more years until she retired about 3 years ago. My brother holds double degrees in music and plays in 8 orchestras throughout the South. So it shows when equal opportunity opens its doors, what can be achieved, what can be accomplished. I'm a walking example of that. And indeed, back in 1952, I was told there was no future for a Negro or colored person in the war, that I was wasting my time. They wanted me to go to Tuskegee to become a farm agricultural expert because I had excelled as a teenager in raising chickens and hogs and vegetable gardens and excelled in fairs and they wanted me to be another George Washington Carver. But I said I want to be George Washington Carver with people that eliminated racism and inequality in America. Here I am today, approaching 78 years of age, and still your humble servant. Thank you.